right. Well, welcome back to another Psychedelic Scene podcast. I am your host, Dr. Matthew Gamble, hailing from Napa Valley, California, where it is one of my greatest delights on the planet to host medicine ceremonies out of my home ceremony space, which is where I am today. And it is a delight to introduce Bénédicte Mannix, aka Ben, all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, one of my favorite places on the planet, a place that I've been able to visit a number of times. As a matter of fact, when I was 19, actually ingested psilocybin, not in Kingston, but on the island of Jamaica. Another story for another time. We're so thrilled to have Ben on the show. She's been doing incredible work and has been through an immense amount through her lifetime. And as I've gotten to know her a little bit better, I actually had seen her because Anderson Cooper had featured some of her work there in Jamaica. And I had seen the commentary on her and some of the work she's done. And she's now working independently out of her home ceremony space there in Kingston. Again, she's been through quite a bit. She's coined a couple phrases, sophradelic, that we'll get into in this episode, as well as the happy verse. And so, welcome, Ben, all the way from Kingston. It's a delight to have you. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Psychedelic Scene podcast.
Hi, Matthew.
Hello, hello,
Hi,
hello.
hi, everyone. Thank you
Yeah,
for inviting me. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here today.
awesome. It's great to have you. And Ben, where I would love to start off, and I think it would be good for our listeners because, as you've already told me before we hit record here today, you've talked to me a little bit about your name. Um, but I would love to hear your journey in life. I know you were born in France. Can you share a little bit about your journey and your name and why you go by Ben?
Um, okay, so Benedict is a girl's name in France, and it's a bit a posh name. And I was in a family that was a bit like I was today I will call myself the psychedelic ship of the family. So I was and very young. I went with the name of Ben. I call myself Ben to kind of cut myself from where I was coming from. And that's when also I started to take psychedelic very young, like I was 13. That
Wow.
so when I say that that's more than 40 years that I'm taking psychedelic, and I definitely use psychedelic for a coping of my life to find some release, to find some purpose, to find some acceptation, to find some love, to find and very early I went in the trans psychedelic scene where I kind of find the family. I and and after that I in the trans psychedelic scene. Probably because I was wanting to take less drugs. I just decided to become like a facilitator and doing risk reduction. And
At what age would that have started the facilitation?
so that will be like maybe, so that will be that in my 40s about that. That's
Okay.
funny that, yeah, that now that I've never, yeah. So I took, yeah, I was like taking like on and on, like lots of psychedelics for 20 years. And, uh, and after I just realized that it was time also to give back kind of something like this, that, I was in this trans psychedelic scene. Sometimes I describe it as, when you're in a tribe, Indian tribe, you see the older people are there to kind of be giving advice to helping others. So there was kind of like for me to give back to this trans psychedelic scene and to be there to help others. It was making sense that volunteering to help people like having a challenging experience. Of course,
Hmm.
I had I had a lot because I was taking too much always psychedelic so 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 I was having this experience of like being in need and sometimes wishing to have someone to help me to support me in this
Mm.
moment.
Hmm.
So
Would
that's
this have
why.
been like you were taking psychedelics alone or in a group setting that there was no one there to help,
So I was
or
taking
both?
psychedelic was thousand and thousand of people when you are in a big trance psychedelic
I
festival.
see.
So, but you still that, even there that, if you don't have the support, you all alone. You're just
Yeah,
freaking out. And if you don't, and definitely if you don't have the people that knows what they're doing to support you, to help you.
right.
So we're talking about set and settings.
Yeah,
So
right.
this is the thing is that and 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 the that I don't want to uh, make a wrong picture about psychedelics. That what I was doing when I was in trans psychedelic festival is like sleep deprivation for 1 week. I was taking lots of
Right.
different kind of drugs. So you know that if you take psilocybin in the right environment, there is very little chance, and with like the right support, there is very little chance that you have a bad trip.
Huh.
Very, very little chance that, this is and a bad trip is always that, I can say this. People that have a challenging experience and the right set and settings are always the people that get the most out of it. So it can be a little bit challenging for a few hours, but the outcome of the session is so like brings so much reward after.
Right.
So,
I'd like to get I would like to explore how you differentiate, because I think even what you just described with it can be challenging, and some people define that as a bad trip if something is challenging somatically or even cerebrally, mentally challenging. But how do you differentiate if somebody between somebody having a hard time and somebody having a bad trip?
okay, so I'm gonna finish just and I
Oh,
answer your question. Um, I so from there I went in South Africa, and in South Africa when I arrived in South Africa, I lived in South Africa for a few years. And the first time I went to a trans psychedelic scene, just I was past the door of the festival. I hear a woman shouting, yelling like crazy. And I ask the people, I say, do you have do you have support? Do you have, and they were not having anyone. And I say to them, I've already have experience. And so I want to help.
mm,
So I created also in South Africa, like the also to have the space, the scare space. And I work also with Zendo to create a care space for the first time at Africa Burn.
mm,
Yeah, I did lots of risk reduction in my life, and I believe that it's a very good school to hold space in a therapeutical setting, because when you do risk reduction, you practice not doing. And this is something that when you do therapeutical, I think it's very important to also practice not doing. we can come back to it that, in
Right. When you
this
say not doing, are you saying like being like helicopter, the helicopter parent, if you've heard that phrase, like just always protecting, safeguarding the child, like doing,
guiding, guiding,
okay.
safeguarding, like, yeah. So, yeah.
So
And
not doing, but being a
yeah,
presence
yeah, yeah.
of,
They
yeah,
definitely like being the strong, safe presence
yes,
that the people need, like, being the container.
yes. So,
So, and
yeah,
I'm going to go back to your question that the
okay.
difference in between like a bad trip and a challenging trip. I
Mm-hmm.
think bad trip is when that, that first you don't have support.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really freaking out without support because
Mm,
if you are in a space where you have the container, there is this your client will tell you after that they go. I can give you an example of a stage 4 person that was stage 4 cancer,
mm-hmm.
you know, and this person went through lots of things in his life that, that he's like strong man that never been scared of nothing, that, if you can imagine the strong character. And, but there he went to like having to face like ego death.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said to me when he came back for the integration, he said, I've never been that scared in my life. And I see that, being in the middle of shootings and everything and never been that scared. And that, I was trusting you and I was that there and just like, that you were there and holding your
Mm-hmm.
hand and trusting you. So, that's what is the difference is that, and I can give you another example. I'm giving you a very dramatic example because we're talking about when somebody is re-experiencing a big trauma like a rape. It's just exactly the same thing that, you kind of re-experience it, but it's just that if you were not in it, and this is what is going to be able to help you to integrate it, because, you're going to not be it, but you're going to look at it from outside. So the
Mm,
feeling, and that's what is going to be able to that you're not dying, you're just looking at it, you're not
mm-hmm.
fearing, you just like re-experiencing it. And what's
Mm-hmm.
wonderful is that how many people are saying that that wasn't my fault,
Mm,
wasn't
mm-hmm.
me that,
Mm-hmm.
because now they've
Mm-hmm.
re-experienced this scene, they re-experience everything. And, sometime when they young that, and with all the shame and the guilt that, that somebody has been abused as a young person, not being able to understand. And now like revisiting this dramatic, terrible event, but was an adult mind and just like being able to see and to realize everything and just saying that, I don't have to have a shame. I don't have to be like guilt. That wasn't
Right.
me. That was not my fault. So, and going back to what is the difference in between like a bad trip, I will say, is that, experiencing this like completely all alone and freaking out and just
Right.
like maybe
Right.
just like being taken because you're freaking out in a psychiatric hospital where people are going to sedate you and just like making it
Mhm.
like that. Now you just experience something terrible, dramatic, and you got someone that is there that is holding your hand, and that that at the same time you dying but in peace. So
Mm-hmm.
this person, so now we're going to, because I don't want to depict a psilocybin journey as terrible and dramatic. This is pretty rare, but the
They can be though.
yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna say something. There will
Hmm.
never be if you're not ready to take it. What you taking what's gonna happen during your psilocybin journey will be what you're ready to process, what you're ready
Right.
to deal. So for those two person, I'm just remembering two person in particular. So when this man came and told me that that at the same time I was dying, but I was you were there and I was trusting
Hmm.
you. I would have
Hmm.
never make it. He was believing that he would not make it and
Hmm.
survive if I wasn't there was not the truth. But the thing is that, and now the thing is that he was not fearing death anymore. And this is
Yeah.
something that, that I can die. That the person is like still alive, that, it's still
Hmm.
that, it's, I don't know, not, but it's still that, and probably because, when people hear about cancer, it's like the fear that, right away you got the fear of death. So this have definitely help him change his feeling about that, this fear of death. And for
Hmm.
that, the other person, one person that I'm thinking about, like, they're just telling me that I'm not guilty, that, those experience or challenging experience, they were very challenging, but
Yeah.
the outcome is very positive. They've been able to make something positive out of it to
Hmm.
alleviate the shame, alleviate the guilt, that and this person can now, like, have proper relationship with men, and that she's not carrying this shame and guilt that she was carrying all her life, that since she was
Hmm.
a young person.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's the support
Hmm.
and the outcome that make it or challenging
That's
or a
clear.
bad trip.
Yeah, very good. And thank you for your work with Zendo as well. Their work is really impressive in the world, and I know many people here in the Bay Area that are involved with Zendo, especially at Burning Man, and I think it's Bloom Festival in Portugal, where Zendo carries such a prominent presence and really
So
holding
that's
space.
yeah. So I'm working. I've been working at Boom like many times. So that's
Hmm.
yeah. So
Oh,
yeah. So this is
we
yeah. This is like a family that cosmic care. It's cosmic care that that yeah. I've been working there like
um,
a lot. Yeah,
we'll
I
have
love
to
it.
see if when we're complete here, we'll see if we may know some mutual friends through the grapevine then. I'm curious, Ben, what when with all the psychedelics you've consumed in your lifetime and kind of there's sometimes when I'm interviewing a guest, I really like to hear the kind of the repertoire of like what like if you're open to it, I would love to hear where you started at 13 with what medicine and then I'm guessing based on what you've already shared that there's been quite a few compounds that you've interacted with. I'm also curious how you landed on psilocybin because that clearly is a primary for you right now. Did you start at
So
13 with psilocybin?
no, I said it was so for me, smoking weed, I was smoking hash. For me,
Hmm.
hash is a psychedelic. We not
Yes. I
we
refer
don't
to cannabis as an entheogen for
yeah,
sure.
we don't not everybody think about this, but for me there was and what it was doing, I definitely believe that it's help you accept and cope with what is.
Mm. Hmm.
Definitely. So I was, yeah, that was helping me. I think that first time that I tried to I attend like I tried to kill myself, like suicide attempt
Mm.
was that I took like lots of medication, like to kill myself, that so that was the same age that that's 13 years old. So I think that I was definitely self-medicated myself,
Hmm.
was so after. how old was I when I don't really remember.
Are you
Like,
saying
and
self-medicating with cannabis?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was smoking like probably 20 joints a day. I was just like, and definitely to numb the pain, to not
Mm-hmm.
to cope with my environment. I was not
Mm-hmm.
happy. I was unhappy. Like another to and And I will say that thanks that, that could be alcohol, but thank you that, there was like cannabis and not alcohol, because I can't imagine how who I will be today if I was like numbing myself with alcohol as much as cannabis did.
Mm-hmm.
I will be, so I'm very glad that was the choice. And and after I can tell you that all my friend that the surrounding that I was that at this time in France that heroin was very big, and everybody was and I was very lucky. I was with older people, and I was seeing, and I was having like maybe one or two friends dying per week, like people that
Wow.
I was knowing from heroin. And I just was lucky to try LSD. And I just like, and I was just like, wow, like, and I was like the to compare, and I definitely believe there's also kind of a temperament that, I'm very positive, I'm very joyful, I'm very happy, and that, and when you take um heroin, I just like really put you in a very dark place. That, but for me, like LSD was taking me completely out of this dark place. That there was
Mm-hmm.
the and just like suddenly like wow, explosion of color, explosion of joy. Everything was like psychedelic. That. So as much as I want to say this, that I don't believe that psychedelics heal you, but they definitely help you. And this is very
Mm.
important to understand, because it's a and it's great that today we've got so many studies and so many we're talking
Mm-hmm.
so much, like they call it like the renaissance, psychedelic renaissance,
Mm-hmm.
that it's wonderful. But some people are misled to think that you're going to take psychedelic and you're going to be healed.
Right.
And I'm sad about this, because when you're suffering, I've had people taking psychedelic and saying, I felt, even psilocybin, I felt. They take it personally because they mislead it, because it doesn't work like this. It
Are
doesn't
you
work
saying
that
they felt a person
fell,
is
fell, fell, fell,
fell?
fell. Sorry, excuse my French.
No worries.
Fell.
So I just
But
want to make sure I'm clear. What do you mean? So they
they,
took
they,
they had the journey and then they fell, like they fell
no, no,
into
no, no, no.
a
Felled.
felt, F-E-L-T.
No, Failed. Felled. That psilocybin failed me. That that I
Oh,
didn't
failed. I'm
succeed. Failed.
sorry. Good
No,
Lord.
no,
All
that's
right.
me. That's my accent.
All right.
Felt
So
that
psilocybin
and they
failed
feel,
me. Thank you.
because
This is
when you
important.
depress, you just feeling like having so low self-confidence.
Yes.
And you got the thing that, oh, you're gonna take psilocybin and you're gonna be healed.
Yeah.
And this is not true. You're gonna be healed. That you need support, you need help, and you need to work also.
Yeah.
It's not the miraculous bullet. It's a magic one. It's gonna help you, but it needs support. It needs help.
Yes, I think
It
this is
needs
a
therapy.
really, yeah, a very important distinction. And actually, Jason, the editor, founder of Psychedelic Scene, and I have talked about this in our own journey because when you look at Johns Hopkins University, for instance, they're coming out with all these studies of these single dose treatment, And it's really quite impressive because they're claiming that it's treating and healing PTSD, depression,
Ah,
anxiety,
ah,
end of
ah,
life,
ah,
and
ah.
addiction issues. And I think there's something to be said because of the plasticity that it introduces, or setting a person maybe on a in a new trajectory, or as you were saying earlier, helping them to see their trauma with new eyes or revisit trauma. And
And therapy.
as you said with the stage 4 cancer person, that they weren't fearing death. So there's some level of healing, one can say, but to your point, there's a lot of people um, that go into the psychedelic space thinking it's going to be a magic bullet or going to heal all their problems, and then to your point, they're like, well, this didn't work for me. This failed me. This
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
help. So what do
That's
you
heartbreaking. Sincerely, for me, that's heartbreaking because, and, because, and that's why every time that someone come to me, now that I've created my company, it's very clear you're going to work. And if you if you contacting me, is that you're ready to work. Is that,
Beautiful.
the teacher is there when the student is ready. That,
Yes.
there's nobody that come to me that think that we're gonna do therapy. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna help you. You need tools.
Yeah.
Psilocybin is a tool. I'm a tool. I'm giving you tools. I'm teaching you. I'm a teacher.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah.
definitely Hopkins is not giving one dose. Hopkins, I don't know much about them, but, they're giving therapy, they're giving support, they're giving group. You're not coming out of nowhere. You take like the thing and you come out and that's it.
Correct.
They got
Yeah,
a
they
follow up. They got a follow up. Suddenly you exist for someone. You exist somewhere. You
yes.
have a purpose in life. You're serving to others.
Yeah.
This is so important.
Yeah. So how did you hone in, or what was your journey of honing in? I find that really unique in the psychedelic space. I'm around a number of different people that have a primary medicine that they end up landing on. And for you, it seems like psilocybin has really risen to the occasion. So I'm curious, what was your journey with really identifying and feeling this intimate connection with psilocybin?
Psilocybin is gentle. I'm gentle.
Yeah,
That's
but was
that's
there a
it.
progression? Because you
Like,
used to be at these festivals taking all LSD, cannabis, all these other, we haven't heard the whole list, but you've worked with a myriad of different medicines. So was there a journey where say psilocybin was saying to you, hey, Ben, I'm calling you to work with me, or
okay, that I went to take ayahuasca. I'm gonna tell you the
okay.
story. I went to take ayahuasca and I was there and I'm coming also from a family very successful, and I was not knowing that, who I am, what I do in my life, except taking like drugs and and like, trying to do my best to like traveling all over the world and doing like, being kind of a hippie that lifestyle and of course, like, studying, knowing what I was wanting, but not being really successful. So that was the question that I went in the jungle to ask, that what's my purpose? What am I doing? Like, why
Mm,
that,
mm,
and, funny enough, that, like, that the ayahuasca, that's what was the trip that, suddenly I had image that came, like, just like lots of image that coming, just like, when you see like in a movie, when you're gonna die, that, you got to see all this thing that come in your life and just like this, like all this image. And ayahuasca said, you're on your path. And that's it. The trip is over. And I started to, and I say, no, 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 that what, like, no, I don't, like, no, that can't be over, like, and
Mm.
suddenly I started vomiting and just like purging everywhere, and just that was over. 11 years later, and I still like, for me, this ayahuasca trip, like, they didn't bring me anything that, I didn't understood anything. Yeah, didn't understand. Yeah, I didn't get it. Didn't get it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
11, yeah, it's just like, what does that mean? Like, you're on your path. Like, I know that. 11 years later, I'm talking with a friend, like a peer, and we talking, and he was telling me that, oh, but that, you've got such a long path, and just like, on your journey, and just like suddenly I just flipped back, and it's just like if I was back in like exactly in the jungle there, and
Mm.
suddenly the trip was just like if I had a flashback of the trip. And
Mm.
from there, it's just that if I went back from where it stopped and it started again, that, and just to look at, so I'm going to show you. You ask me something. I'm sorry, I'm going to be like a bit, I'm going to show you one thing. I don't know if I should do this, but in front of the camera, but in my 20s, and that's the first thing I saw. And during the trip, I saw this, that, I don't know if you can see it. This is a tattoo. You probably can't see it, but this
Hmm.
is a tattoo that I did in my 20s in Indonesia, in Bali. And I was like tripping on mushrooms, and I enter a tattoo shop and I say, I want mushroom here in my brain. And when I was sitting like 11 years later, I just add this. And this is like, and I didn't, and you are on your past. This was the meaning that, I used my tattoo to create my logo. And in fact,
Okay.
I just realized that, everything that I did in my life was to every study, everything, every travel, every trip, every wise person or guru or people or experience that I've had was all this experience was to lead me to who I am now, and led me to help others to
Hmm.
like be in happy verse. That's-
Which we'll get into
so,
happy verse. So,
uh,
but was it so?
and to answer your question, because I want to answer your question.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that definitely that that was in Indonesia where really that that I was really getting very very familiar with psilocybin, that that
Mm.
I was using a lot of it, a lot of and during my travel and growing and just acceptance, and just so I was finding it gentle and always. Why I will not work with LSD, that maybe also that that I'm working legally. That's a
Hmm.
big thing, that
Right.
because
Right.
in Jamaica I can work legally with and I
Yeah.
don't know where you can work legally with LSD. But anyway, LSD is like 10 to 12-hour work. It's very volatile, and when you're looping on LSD, it's
Hmm.
difficult to get out of the loop. So,
Right.
for the benefit, like it's easier, because I know that, when I'm going to work with it's much more manageable, and I'm much more know the space of it's much more manageable. I will say that I know that LSD is like even like the genetic like probably maybe sometimes too far that that it's difficult to be there. When was like any people that take psilocybin was me, I know where they are at. Like LSD,
Yeah.
they can be much further than where I can even imagine where they are.
Well, a couple of things are hitting me. One is back to your awareness with harm reduction and the differentiation between a bad trip. That and this is something I want to highlight in general, especially for the listener. Because there's those of us on the journey that are a few chapters ahead of the people behind us. And there, to your point earlier, there is a huge renaissance happening. As a previous pastor, I'm quite enamored with how many of my parishioners or people that knew me as a pastor in quite a conservative denomination. I have a steady trickle effect of people reaching out to me saying, hey, I've heard about psilocybin. It's prime like 9 times out of 10, it's psilocybin. Occasionally it's ketamine or maybe another compound. But there's a number of people that are coming into the awareness that these medicines are helpful. And I do want to highlight that having a person like you, Ben, who's been in the trenches, so to speak, you've been in a number of different environments, and like you say, have been working with psychedelics for a number of decades, not just you're not new to this. And so you know how to be a presence. You know how to, well, to your point, like not engage, but to be a presence of assurance, which is extremely helpful because there's a lot of relativity when we take these compounds, whether it be LSD, you can have a really take a copious amounts of LSD and have a really big psychedelic experience, but also with psilocybin. I know people that have taken exorbitant amounts of psilocybin. Sometimes when I hear some of the dosing, it kind of blows my mind, but there's a relativity to it. And these medicines are not, they're not for the faint of heart. Um, you did co-author already for Psychedelic Scene. You co-authored an article on dosing. And I am curious, when you're working with people, how do you determine the dosing? When you're working one-on-one or with groups, yeah, do you have a protocol or method to determine the dosing?
Yeah. So I always say to my client that they are the healer, they are the guide, they are that. So that's the same thing that, they need to decide of their dosage. So let's be clear, the art of dosing to just like the the art of dosing is to know that you don't know anything. And more than anything is that you don't know the other person,
Oh, I see. I
you
see.
know?
Yep.
So if you think you know, you don't know
Hmm.
that, So, and specifically with someone that have never ever taken psychedelic, that, that never tried, how you going to, so like, for example, one of my last client, he said that I am very sensitive so he was referring to his own experience about weed. But
Hmm.
in fact, in local, like, that I give him 5 gram because we decided on 5 gram that, and I'm always asking the people, so what do you prefer? And people I say that I'm gonna say you're gonna decide of your dose, and they tell me, hey, I don't know, I've never taken, I don't know, and I say, yes, you know yourself better than
Mm,
me. So I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you prefer to be underwhelmed or overwhelmed?
mm,
So, so this person told me that's okay, that, I trust you, I'm feeling comfortable with you. So this is like, okay, let's go for a 5 gram. Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
but he was saying to me that, oh, I'm very sensitive. And, if I was listening to also just like, this, that, I could think that, oh, maybe, but, he said to me, I'd rather be overwhelmed. So 5 gram is okay. Like, do you want 5 gram? Are you ready for maybe being overwhelmed?
Right.
So that was his choice.
I see.
So, so how, and after, so definitely having, when you're doing, like when you're taking psilocybin, it's always better to have two doses, that
Mm-hmm.
and in over like a
It's
period of a
always
short,
better to have two doses, did you say?
yeah, in a short period of time. Okay, I'm gonna
Over
rephrase
multiple
this.
days?
Yes, yes. Over one, like, when I do, what I suggest is that, that the minimum is to have, the best is to have like 5 days, like pre-session, session, integration, pre-session, session, integration.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, and because, this is going to be like the first dose, we're going to just like see how you react and how you
Mm-hmm.
are, and this is going to be an adjustment. And this is going
Mm-hmm.
to be the same thing. You or the people are going to dose themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to tell me if they want more, if they want less. They will tell
Mm-hmm.
me. So we'll see. So there is every person is unique, and every person is going to react differently. And this
Mm-hmm.
nobody can know. There is no, if someone ever rules about this, that please they can come tell me. But that yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, unless maybe doing test in the gut or test in the stomach, or I don't know that, but I don't ever, I don't think that anyone can really know.
Hmm. Yeah, that you're saying that you don't think the person providing the medicine can dictate to the receiver
Yeah.
how much. I mean,
S-
yeah, I think
and
there
in
can
my,
be, yep,
and sorry, and two things in my protocol. Definitely, I don't microdose because, I'm not there to to help people to microdose. So it's always, I always give like macro dose, like big
mm-hmm,
doses to in my retreat. That's the first thing. Second thing is that I don't redose. It's just that when you're starting a journey, it just that, it needs to be safe and to let go and trust the process. So what
mm-hmm,
we have been deciding, you need to trust.
mm-hmm,
I've seen
mm-hmm,
people like, not feeling anything, taking 4 hours to start feeling. You don't read those people. You don't, in my process, I don't read those.
mm-hmm. Do you out of curiosity, do you work with a particular strain of psilocybin?
Cubensis, yeah, cubensis, but yeah,
But I mean, there's
cubensis.
some 200 cubensis strains. I'm just
That
curious if you,
that yeah, I okay. So now now people are gonna say that, I'm not really sure that if there is like a big huge difference in between strain.
sure. Yeah, I mean,
That's that
some are
I'm gonna
shown to
say.
be more potent, but no worries on that.
Yeah,
I
yeah, but
do,
this is one more time, this is like what you're saying. It's going to depend, because this is what I'm saying, and in the document, that in the thing that I did for the magazine. Um, the same strain can have a lower or a higher, like,
right,
so it's sometimes you're gonna have, like, you can have a lower,
correct.
so and depending on your day, your personal day, I can give you like exactly the same mushroom. another day, and you're going to have like, one day you're going to almost not feel it, and the same dose, the same mushroom, the other day
Yeah.
you're going to be out of your head. So,
Yeah.
no
And that
rules.
brings up, yeah.
Listen this rule with somebody that is very experienced. No rules. That's
Yeah,
the knowledge.
I think the point there, so especially for those that have ingested entheogens and maybe had a quote unquote rough experience, some people have said, this isn't my medicine or this did not work well for me. To your point, Ben, that there's so many variables, and one journey to the next is very, very different. And I do think that there's a number of people on the planet that are there, there's a whole spectrum. There's people that are interested in medicine, and then maybe they try it once, and then if the journey was challenging, then maybe they're not open to trying it again, but the next time could be extremely blissful and powerful. So in a positive way. So I think that there's something to be said um, for engaging and having the courage and showing up. And it's fascinating your protocol over the 5 days. And as you said earlier, you are a teacher that is teaching and taking all of your experience with transgenerational your own personal trauma. You've developed this protocol and you held up the card with sophradelic.com, and we'll get into that by the end of the show a little more, but into your website and how to get a hold of you. But I would like to spend some time dropping into this sophradelic concept. So sophrology is a method of self-development and well-being that combines relaxation techniques, mindfulness, and movement to promote harmony between the mind and body. And I will confess that you did introduce me to the word sophrology because you're a bit of a wordsmith. I didn't know if you had made that one up. I was new to this myself, but absolutely love it. And then you've coined this phrase, the sophradelic. And obviously psychedelic sophrology coming together. Can you share with us a little bit of your journey into sophrology and what that means to you and how you incorporate that, say, over your 5 days with your clients?
Okay, um, so sophrology mean source friend logos is the study of the wow, I got it. It's the study of consciousness in harmony. So basically, all the work that I'm trying to do is all about helping you to be conscious. If you're conscious, you
Hmm.
can, it's like revealing to the light. And okay, we're gonna go
Mm.
to happy verse. Happy verse is the alignment of body, mind, and soul.
Okay,
We're
but
gonna
real quick, because you and I talked about this earlier. When Ben is talking about happy verse, this is really key, and she's working on something we will get into before we close today. But just for our listeners' sake, happy verse is another word that this wordsmith Ben has coined. So just wanted to make sure that that was clear for
yeah.
the listener.
And okay, so sophrology, I after studying psychology, I realized something. I realized that lots of people were not, I was constantly in search of tools to help myself, to heal myself, and to help others.
Beautiful.
And that's why I studied transgenerational therapy also, because I was understanding that, the trauma not only coming from me, that, my problem
Hmm.
today or not, they also coming from my ancestor. I need to understand my roots. I study
Hmm.
systemic therapy. I study Rogerian
Hmm.
therapy. And I was just seeing like some people were always telling me that, first I don't want to go dig in my past and I don't want to talk. And I was seeing that, people were stressed and stress was like a big problem for everybody and for mental and physical disease. And so I was thinking that, and also that something that meditation that for somebody that have a trauma, that meditation, so ask me, close your eyes and relax. This is definitely an attack to my like self. That
Mm,
if you ask me that I'm in a defense mechanism constantly, I'm in hypervigilance constantly, and now you're telling me close your eyes and relax.
mm,
This is
right.
like, you are attacking me. So
Mm,
I was just thinking that, finding a tool for myself. I can't do meditation. I was not able to do meditation. Meditation was the most stressful thing on the planet for me.
mm,
So, and one day I come up to see like sophrology and I say, wow, that, I can meditate finally, that, So, like sophrology is a somatic, um, how do you call it? A somatic technique.
modality.
Wait,
Yeah.
modality technique. It's a somatic technique and it's going to help you connect your body and mind. You're going to learn how to listen to your body. You're going to learn how
Mm,
to calm your body. You're going to, like, and to connect your body and mind. Now, and this is sophrology. After you got your soul, and now we want to connect your body, mind, and soul. And we're going to go connect your body, mind, and soul with psychedelic, with psilocybin.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
this is the protocol. My protocol is just there to help you connect everything together. When everything
mm-hmm.
is connected and aligned, that's when you're reaching Happyverse. This is what is Happyverse.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Did you actually go to some program for sophrology? Did you
Yeah,
did
yeah,
you
yeah. I'm a
take a course?
sophrologist. Yeah, I've been teaching sophrology to help people with addiction, to help people with depression, anxiety. That yeah, I'm a sophrologist, like registered sophrologist.
Beautiful. And where did you, I'm just out of curiosity, was that something, and when did this come into your life?
Um, 2011, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
Beautiful.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I think yeah,
it's a
not sure.
it's a great combination that you bring, and this notion of the happy verse is really beautiful. And I do, with that said, I would love for you to share a little bit because you're working on a book, I think under that same title, Happy Verse.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so about books, I've signed a contract. Normally I've signed for a chapter in an entheogen book where they
Right?
talking about healing and entheogen. And
Hmm.
I'm chapter 14 and it's how to like heal childhood trauma with psilocybin. So inside, that's my protocol.
Now,
So,
interesting, because this book is called The Handbook of Entheogenic Healing.
oh, you
And
got it.
you're, yes, well, yes, but you had shared earlier in the episode that these medicines, and let's clarify this. Did I hear you say that these medicines or psilocybin doesn't provide healing?
They, okay, they're not going to, you remember, you are the healer.
You are the healer. But do you believe, I mean, there's part of me that would like to challenge that a little bit because
Cool.
I think that these medicine, people often refer to these as medicines, or people refer to them as master teachers, master
Mm,
plants.
yeah.
That there's a wisdom that's within the mycology of, say, in this context, specifically psilocybin. And I'm curious because from my standpoint, it's like this combination. Yes, I'm my own healer, or as some people have said, I'm the healer I've been looking for. But then these medicines come in and open up new aspects for me that, left to my own devices, I may not have access. So another way of saying this is, I really believe that, especially in the case of psilocybin, because it's this living organism that's coming out of the ground, or this living being that's coming out of the ground. The mycelium is one of the, I believe, is the largest network on the planet that is interconnected. And so there's this wisdom technology that we're taking into ourselves, and it feels like a joint a combination of sorts. That, yes, I'm my own healer, and this is a tool, as you said, you referred to yourself, as an instrument, that this medicine is an instrument to come into my life to actually help me heal. I'm curious how that lands with you.
So that's the thing is that I'm gonna give you an example
Mm-hmm.
of one of my client that took psilocybin and had therapy with me.
Mm-hmm.
And this person completely, after more than 20 years, completely stopped, completely for months, all his medication. He was on heavy
Mm.
medication. He got it all, understanding everything,
Mm.
completely changed his life.
Mm-hmm.
But he went back to where he was not wanting to work. And so he started again the medication to kind of exactly the same way that I've told you that, I was using smoking to cope. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he told me that, Ben, I can't do this work without the medication. Taking medication to numb himself.
And when you say do this work,
Today,
it's not the internal work. You're saying his professional work. Yeah,
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 sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, his work. So today where he is at.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's very hard because, that he was not able to, he got it all. But the thing is that, financially, that was hard to just like, and come back that unfortunately he was having like a really very I don't want to disclose too much but
Sure. Yeah.
about this person, but very dramatic environment that it's not everybody that have such a dramatic environment. So but going back to really like being completely, so this person today is in transition and going back to university. He started like few days ago. So, I
Oh,
always have like a very, so he's starting like a new, so, the journey is not lost. But what I mean is that, it's not because you're going to have the revelation, so it's not because you're gonna have like, this neuroplasticity for 2, 3
yes.
weeks that, that this is going to change your life. That, I'm gonna give you an example. If you are in a couple and you are getting bitten up every day, like, or being like, in a violent relationship. And you take psychedelics and suddenly you realize that, hey, I don't deserve this. I don't,
Hmm.
and you go back
Hmm.
to get bitten up and you can't escape that, the psychedelic is not going to heal you. Like, you have to
Yeah.
do certain things. If you understand what I
Yes.
mean, that,
Yes.
I've,
Yeah.
I've, I can help you to understand. I can help you to make the link, why you're there, how you're there, that, the psychedelics can help you. But you're still gonna have to do something. You're still gonna have to change your life. You're still gonna have to enter
Yes.
the room. And so,
You
did I have answer the question?
absolutely no, I think it, and this is what's helpful with this conversation. I really loved, say, your differentiation between a bad trip, and then now to hear that this isn't a magic bullet. It's not like you're gonna go have one psilocybin journey.
Sorry. It's magic. It's not miraculous. That's what I say. It's very magic. Huh? Believe me, like
Yes.
what's happening is like magic. Magic, but not miraculous.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
it's a great differentiation. So there is it's as though, and let's see if this resonates with you. Psilocybin or these medicines taken in a therapeutic setting or in a safe and sacred setting with intention can provide some level of healing, but it's not a full stop. It's not gonna just radically change your life and everything's gonna go away. What I'm hearing you say is that it can help awaken things in you in magical, mysterious ways. It can help us revisit some of the trauma from a new perspective and see. And I could attest to that on a personal level with multiple experiences with psilocybin where I would have least expected something to come into my awareness. And here it is in Technicolor brilliance. And to your point that you said earlier, I was able to see things. I was able to see trauma or abuses from an observer's distance. It was a very fascinating experience. But then from that, and this goes back to the importance of what it is that you're offering with a 5 day, which I find very fascinating. And I'm glad that you've established this protocol of having teaching, preparation, journey, integration, teaching, preparation, journey, integration, because that sets a precedence. It sets a level of momentum that I often see as lacking in these type of containers or in the people that are providing medicine. We that we need that type of protocol where there is good integration and making sure that because we have these very powerful, magical, monumental experiences. I mean, one of the most common reports from people in a clinical setting at Johns Hopkins in particular is they're saying this is the one of the top, if not the top, most significant event or experience of their entire life.
you know how
Mothers,
I call
yes,
it? I call
yes.
it like positive trauma. Because
Hmm.
that, and this is like, I love the positive, a positive trauma is something that is going to happen to you and that can help you to change positively,
Yes,
you know
yes. So yeah, and I'm so grateful, Ben, to have made your acquaintance. Again, Jason introduced us about a week or so ago, and since that time, we've had a number of occasions to connect and talk in preparation for this session today. And I suspect this won't be our last interview because I believe that there's so much more that we can unpack here. I think we've hit on some really important topics today, especially with the harm reduction or presencing the importance of your set and setting, presencing the importance, especially if you're a novice stepping into these medicines. It's important to have a trip sitter, as is commonly referred to, and ideally somebody who knows what they're doing. ideally somebody like Ben or myself that have been in the trenches, that have worked with these compounds a number of different times, that aren't going to be the helicopter person trying to meddle in your suffering or in your, maybe it's your bliss. We're there to just provide safety and security. And so, in wrapping up today, I do want to highlight a few things. Number one is that you can visit sophradelic.com. That is spelled, and we'll have this, we'll make sure this is in the description notes. sophrodelic.com. And on there, you can contact Ben. She has a tab on that page. If you go to the About page, you can click on the WhatsApp and either text her or call her. And one of the things, maybe you can share with us a little bit, what are the scopes? Because I know you've mentioned to me before our session here today, you're available for one-on-one sessions, so you can support people remotely. You also do the retreats. Can you expound on that a little bit about maybe the one-on-one work that's available remotely, and then what's available in regards to in person with you in Kingston?
Yeah, so like we were talking about the importance of therapy. So,
Hmm.
when people start even like before coming to the retreat and start the therapy and even like after the retreat, that's what I'm saying. It's important. It's just like the retreat is it's just going to give you when you say that you're going to take psilocybin, it's going to give you 5 years of
Right,
therapy. But
right.
this is, but it's always like important to put it back into your everyday life. So
Hmm.
the integration. So doing therapy before and
Hmm.
doing therapy after, it's very important also.
Hmm.
So I take one-on-one. I'm a counselor, so I do counseling, and I'm specialized in childhood trauma. I'm specialized in helping people with depression, anxiety, addiction. um, I do lots of couple therapy also, and I
Hmm.
definitely recommend to just like come for a couple therapy. Like,
Hmm.
was I do private. I work in private, so this is really helpful for a couple that want to like move on to the next level that
Hmm.
in their life. And so what else also that like self-development also, that it's sometime I want to say something that is always I want to say it because lots of people suffer from depression.
Hmm.
And I want to say that depression is a natural movement of the body. I want people to hear this
Hmm.
because, it saddened me that so many people are getting depressed and medicated, because when you're
Hmm.
medicated, you're going to suppress your feeling, your
Right,
emotion.
right.
Emotion is so important. This is your soul.
Hmm.
And sometime we are human being and we're not machine. We have a
Hmm.
soul, we have
Hmm.
emotion. And like going to a grieving, every time that you're going to have a change in your life,
Hmm.
you're going to be depressed, losing your work, losing a loved one, a
Hmm.
partner, like maybe moving home, moving house, moving
Yeah.
city, that, this is going to create like a depression. And this
Hmm.
natural movement is a movement to introspection, to help you introspect and to be like all alone and able to introspect. We are in a society where we
Hmm.
don't let people introspect. And that's,
Yeah.
and a depression lasts 4 to 6 months. That's funny,
Sorry?
huh? A depression,
Depression?
yeah,
What do you
lasts,
mean? I mean, can it last for
it's
years?
But you know that now, are you medicated or not?
Not
No, no, but that's the thing is that, you know, okay, so this is like, has it been resolved? Have you been, have you
right,
been like given you the time to resolve the reason why? Do you know why you're depressed? Did you resolve
right,
your depression? Do you
right.
understand? Do you know why? Do you know
I
why?
just was questioning the comment about saying that
Let's
depression lasts 4 to 6 months. I've never heard somebody
like
say that.
yeah, a natural, but following an event.
I see.
If you had like a terrible childhood where you were unhappy and you never had the chance to resolve it, and
Right,
that's what you are creating in your life as just like a underlying like depression.
right. Yeah,
So this is need to be addressed. This is need to be understood. This is need to be like healed.
absolutely. Well, I,
So there is
I,
tools for this. There is tool and there is hope. That's what
yes.
I'm doing, and it's
So
possible.
yes. And then with the people, so are people coming in from all over the world? I mean, have people traveled in from all over to visit with you in Kingston? Are they
Yeah.
predominantly in Jamaica already? Is it a variation of both?
The the person that I had a client that come from New Zealand,
Okay.
that
Wow.
another one Australia, that like other
Beautiful.
Australia. So that's like kind of far away. Yeah, for cluster headache, like that's working pretty well. That
Beautiful.
yeah,
I think it's outstanding what it is that you're doing in the world, Ben, and I'm especially grateful. I know we didn't get into a lot of your personal story and journey. And maybe we will on a future episode. And or, as you're working with individuals, it is remarkable, right? How our lives, we go through our own journey, our own experience. Here you were a 13-year-old and found yourself numbing out with I mean, you did say that the hash was your first entheogen. It really awakened something in you. So there was definitely a spiritual or healing or an expansive component to it, but there was also a numbing. But then going through all these journeys that you've had, all this, living in South Africa, and again, there's so many things we could have dropped into. I do want to presence, and again, this will be in the show notes below, that you can find on Instagram. You can find Ben there at sophradelic.jamaica. And again, listed there, psilocybin assisted therapy in Jamaica, healing or working with, sorry, depression or addressing depression, anxiety, addiction, PTSD, childhood trauma, ADHD, OCD, 15 years experience helping heal people. And you can find more information on our link tree there,
hmm.
sophradelic.com as well, and can ping her on her WhatsApp. I am not trying to have the last word here, but this has been a tremendous joy. So I see you put up your finger.
Yeah,
Yes,
just saying that I'm also working. I've been working with teenagers with the consent of their parents. That
with psilocybin specifically.
yeah, yeah.
Wow,
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Excellent.
and yeah, and also that I take people medicated because lots of retreat don't do it, and that's for me. I don't take crutches to people that
Yeah.
that yeah. So
And I
some
do.
people
Beautiful. So there's a wide range there that you've presence, working with individuals, working with couples, working with teenagers. There's a wide range there. Also on our
group
website, yes, in
group
groups,
also doing
exactly.
yeah.
There is a lot of information on the website, sophradelic.com. So I really encourage you to check it out there and be sure to ping her on WhatsApp. And I would look forward to as well with any of our viewers here at Psychedelic Scene Podcast. I would love to hear from you. If you have any recommendations or questions along the way, but recommendations of potential guests that would be great to have on the show, please let me know. And if you have any particular questions about entheogens, aka psychedelics in general, that's what we're here for. So people like Ben, people like myself, people like Jason, you know, reach in, continue to reach in. I trust that if you're watching this, that this is not a mistake, that you found the right place to be at the right time, and we are here to be of support to you. I've actually coined the phrase entheogenic pastor because I really do see my life as a bridge to help support you in your healing journey and in your evolution as a human being. And I truly believe that these medicines are coming to the rescue of humanity, especially psilocybin. I am quite enamored with its millennia of history being used. There's just so much here. So I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, Ben, for your
Thank you
presence,
very
joining us
much.
all the way
Yeah.
from Kingston,
Love and
Jamaica.
respect to everyone,
Yes, and love and respect.
man.
I do hope in this lifetime, Ben, I am hoping and trusting that our paths will cross in person. You always have a place here, and if you ever make it out to Northern California, I'd love to host you here. And then I do intend in this lifetime to come and go through your protocol so I can experience it firsthand. So thank you for all the good work you're doing in the world. Blessings to you as you continue to serve humanity in such a beautiful way. I covet being there in Jamaica with those clear, crystal clear waters. I love that country so, so much. It's blessed me a number of times in my life, as you have blessed me today and over the last week or so getting to know you. So thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you for everyone tuning in. Thank you so much to Psychedelic Scene for all the good work you're doing in the world as well. It's a joy to be a part. And until next time, signing off, Dr. Matthew Gamble, here for your highest and best blessings on the journey. Thank you. You.